Hi, I'm Caitlin. I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner, and I believe in freedom freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of emotion, freedom from oppression, freedom from the cage that we have built around us and our systems. So, today I want to talk about what that means for us collectively and as individuals. In what ways are we building cages? Maybe we feel restricted by the cages we've already built. How can we change this? What can we do about it? Now that we've come down this rabbit hole together just a little bit, I want to talk about what I do as far as my profession and my passion. I am a psychiatric nurse practitioner, so I work in the mental health field, but I also work in functional health. And when I first started in this industry as a nurse 10 years ago, I felt the cage of oppression of the medical industry wrapping around me. And the only way that I could see out of it was to either quit or to change it from the inside. And so, engaging in mental health as a psychiatric nurse practitioner, I immediately started working on a functional health certificate so that way I could understand more of the core of our issues rather than just medicating but fixing. And then I realized, the hubris of fixing people is not what I want to do. So, how can I help people heal themselves? And that led me down the road of learning Reiki and self-healing strategies. And while that sounds woo-woo and weird, it works. And the thing that's really beautiful about this is that it doesn't just make us feel good and floaty, and it does. But what it does is it empowers us to break out of the cage that we have created that limits our ability to believe in ourselves, to be able to see outside of the world of we need somebody else to solve our problems, right? And I think that's kind of what we're up against right now, like systemically too, is we're looking and hoping and praying that Superman's going to come from the sky and fix all this stuff. It's not going to happen that way. We have to empower ourselves to take our power back. We have to take ownership and responsibility for the ways in which we've played into these things that we're struggling with. We have to take ownership and responsibility for the ways in which our parents and their parents and their parents also did this. It's a lot of responsibility. And I'm a millennial, and technically a millennial. And, so I feel like I've been bridging this divide between the old world and the new, growing up without technology and then suddenly having to learn and build, and then having kids who are constantly on technology. And I'm like, hey, read a book. But, we're bridges between the old world and the new. And in order to kind of walk across that bridge, we have to really start to unpack all of the ways in which we have been contained in these rules and this rigidity of society, and also within ourselves and our bodies, where we've been told we don't know what our body's doing, and so we dissociate. We leave our body so that it just starts to collapse around us. And then we say, well, fix me. I don't know what's wrong with me. And I see this time and time again. And this runs across the board with autoimmune conditions from trauma. This runs into things with OCD and health anxiety, where we just dissociate because we feel something and it's weird and we don't know what it is. And then we go to medical providers and they're like, everything looks fine. And they can't help us. And we feel helpless and trapped inside of this body that's not working. So what I do is I turn the page on this. I help people turn the page on this and start to recognize their strengths, start to recognize the ways in which they've left their body, start to recognize the ways in which they've been taught to leave their body, and start to come back in and start to rebuild trust and connection and strength within ourselves so we can heal. So we can heal for our family, so we can heal for our friends, so we can continue to grow. And as we do that, we become empowered. We become this, I see this blossoming that happens where it's suddenly I see all the ways in which I was behaving that were actually making my problems worse. So I'm going to stop doing that. And I'm going to stop feeding into the systems. I'm going to stop saying yes to the things that actually make me feel like crap. And we empower ourselves when we come out and we emerge as just everything that we wanted to be. And it's not a short or an easy process. This is evolution. So if you're feeling constrained, if you're feeling trapped, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling like you have no control over your life situation, over your health situation, I encourage you to, find a guide. I offer coaching services out of state. In Florida, I accept insurance from a few major provider platforms. I don't know what they're called, insurance companies. But getting somebody in your corner to help guide you, to empower yourself, not to diminish yourself further, not to pathologize yourself further, but to empower your strengths and help you grow and nourish yourself and others from there. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. I hope this message reaches those who need it. And write back in the comments any thoughts, feelings, suggestions, etc. And nice to meet you.